Hey, Arcturus here. Today we're looking at a set for LEGO Harry Potter, the Gringotts Wizarding Bank Collector's Edition. This is set 76417 and comes with 4,803 pieces and is rated for 18 plus. It is, as you can see, a very large set. There's also a dragon, which isn't shown here. It's a very tall set, as you can see. It has a nice underground section for the vaults, as well as a Diagon Alley area section for the exterior of the bank. This set also comes with several minifigures, 2 from year 1, Harry Potter and Hagrid, and many more from the 8th movie, or Book 7 Part 2, where you get Harry Potter, Ron Weasley as Dragomir Despard when he is polyjuiced to infiltrate the bank. Hermione Granger, also available as Bellatrix Lestrange, Griphook, Bogrod, and Rickbert, as well as 2 generic goblins, a generic Death Eater, and 2 generic guards for Diagon Alley, as well as a Ukrainian iron-bellied dragon. Alright, so as you can see, the Diagon Alley portion just sits on top of the underground section. It sits on one of those large base plates and just rests here on top for display purposes. But to get a better camera angle, we're going to look at them separately. So you also have a nice Gringotts minecart, which I will reset there. You can have it stop at several of the vaults by use of these. If the red sign is down, and you'll see that it's red when I flip it around, but it has a red dot here. When the stop sign is up, it puts a stop in there, and when it's down, the cart can go all the way down to the bottom. There's another one for the other vault. So in this set, we have 3 vaults. We have 2 from the first movie, Harry Potter's Vault, 687. We also have the vault for the We also have the vault for the Philosopher's Stone, or Vault 713. And then at the very bottom, we have Bellatrix Lestrange's vault, where they retrieve the goblet of Helga Hufflepuff. Just reset the cart here. So as you can see, if this is up, the cart will stop. And if we lower it, the cart will continue all the way down until it stops here on this piece. There's some other pieces scattered around here. So for instance, this vault for Bellatrix Lestrange actually has the trap as seen in the movie with Bellatrix's duplication charm. If you reach in there, and if we press, you can dump extra cups, a few of which are also here in this chest, into the vault. Those can be reloaded through this port here, and they will just sit there until you press the trap again. Most of the details here are the non-built details are stickers. So for instance, the vault doors are stickers. This one is actually a door to Gringotts, although it does not go anywhere. We have some small details here for the dragon feeding and taming area. We have the waterfall of truth that removes disguises. Another stop here. And inside Vault 713, we have a small Philosopher's Stone from the first movie. And in Vault 687, we have a nice stack of galleons. A few things, like there's a small sticker here for the establishment of the bank. And some nice cave details here. This is assembled in 2 parts, essentially, where it's one crossbeam and then another crossbeam, and then they're locked in place with this Technic piece. There's one on the bottom as well. So that's it for the underground section. So I'm going to move this. We'll be right back with the Diagon Alley section of Gringotts. All right, so here we have Gringotts. It also has a small shop here for the magical menagerie where Hermione got her cat Crookshanks. There are a few details hidden in these sets that you can see when building them, but they aren't showable on display. The angles here are intentional. They do look slightly off, but that is intended as what it's supposed to be. These are actually kind of locked in place. There's very little wiggle room for them to move. So it is, despite the lopsidedness, it is actually fairly sturdy. You have a few small details added on here. So some owls, because it's in Diagon Alley. So we have some cauldrons stacked here, an entryway to more of the alley, or it would be if that was there. You can connect it to some modular sections here with these Technic pins. And on this side, we do have some graffiti, as well as another entrance to the bank here in the back with a nice statue with a toad on top. We have a nice drain spout here, some more advertisements here on the side of the building, and some owls, as well as some windows into the bank itself. So we have the front doors here of the bank. Nice step up. Some nice cobbles here from the alley. We actually have some nice animals. A cat here for the signage. A puffskin, which is actually a small printed piece here. Which looks kind of like a sheep. But it's a nice pink piece for a puffskin. A toad, some snakes, and some more signage. In the instructions, they have you put the sign out like this, but I figured I would break that off moving it around. So I did not. This is unfortunately also stickers, as are most of the advertisements and labels here on this set. While it does look like this building is modular, it is only mostly so in that you can only remove the one wall. You do get a nice interior for the magical menagerie. You get a nice toad hidden underneath, or chocolate frog, I should say. And up top, you do get a bat and some extra details here. But it is mostly closed off. It is. You also get some extra signage as well for in the small side alley, which I thought was a nice addition. Slide that back on. And then it's sealed back up and all gone. So now we have the interior of the bank. You get some nice marble columns that actually do have some like stone details printed on them. These were not sticker pieces, which I thought was a very nice addition to the set. I hope to see them used elsewhere. It's a very nice large interior, but it is not modular. The only modular section is this part of the only modular section is this part of the roof, which we'll get to in a moment. You do have the nice interior of the bank with white and gray tile flooring. Nice chandelier there in the back, which was cleverly put together. And then some spaces up on top, some small catwalks to walk around on the upper floor of the bank, as well as a small office section here on the top floor for a banker, as well as a small vault here on the top. There's also a nice... knocking pieces off here. Also a nice portrait there in the office. And some gold bars stashed around. And some placed inside this chest. You have the teller's desk from year one, which is semi-modular, I guess. With some steps there for a goblin to hop up upon it. And then we have that side door here that you can access from the outside. It does use some nice sticker pieces. So these windows that you can see are actually stickers with some nice shiny backing. So they kind of reflect from the interior so you can't see out of them. You can also see those on the upper floor where they're just kind of silver. And that's the back of the sticker. Those come on the same sheet as these other ones. That's the interior of the bank. On top, you have a nice dome, which actually does come off, and we'll look at that in a second. And we also have this part of the roof where they break through. It doesn't seem to be quite the right size, but there is magic involved, so conceivably it would work. You have some nice broken pieces. I think it would have been a nice touch to get an extra one of these clear pieces so that you could have it unbroken if you wanted. For a set of this size, I don't think adding an extra one of those would have been too big of an ask. So now we'll look at the extra office here on top. where you get some sticker pieces for plans in there, and some stickers here on the side walls, and one on the other side wall as well, which is a little difficult to show with my camera, but there you can see it just barely there. It's a very nice large piece. So we'll look at the dragon next. So here we have the Ukrainian iron belly. It's made out of these ball joints and some cloth pieces so you can kind of have some nice bending here to how it's built. You know, the tail raised, lowered, however you like. I've had some trouble getting it to balance, but should. Yeah. It does have these flat sections here on the bottom, as well as some chains for how the goblins were keeping it chained up. The wings can unfurl or fold up to have it be more tight. Also have them kind of bend around as you wish. It does have this nice flame piece here. I do quite like the head for it as well. But if you want the mouth to close, you just pop the flame piece out, and then it's all closed up. Or you can have it open without the flame piece. I don't know if you can hear the clicking for it, but it does click open to this position. And then you can just put the flame piece right back in and have it breathing fire. I thought it was a very nicely printed piece here for this head, although you do add some of the horn bits here and here. Overall, I quite like this dragon. It's very well done, I think. I never had one of the Hungarian horntails from 4th year, so I don't know how it stacks up to those, but I think it's quite... And then the underside of the wings is kind of done in this kind of bone section. It might have been better if we had 2 pieces of this cloth for each side to give it more of a leathery feel on both sides, but I think it works quite well for the pieces used on it. I'll set our dragon off to the side, and then we'll take a look at our minifigures. So here we have Year 1 Harry with the short legs, dressed in muggle clothing, signature scar, holding a galleon, and he also has an alternative face print here as well. A nice simple minifigure for Year 1 for his visit to Gringotts. Up next we have Rubeus Hagrid carrying his umbrella. This is the typical Hagrid build with the larger torso and arms, as well as the printed pockets here, and no alternative face print for him. But a very nice molded hairpiece and printed torso there with lots of detail for Hagrid. Up next, we have Year 7 Harry Potter from movie 8, where he is holding his wand, also dressed in muggle clothing, and with an alternate face print for where he's gone through the waterfall and had his disguise removed. So you can do either face print for those. Same for Ron. You can have him as Dragomir Despard, dressed in Dragomir's clothing, or you can have him dressed in the clothing, but with his disguise removed and the water still lingering on his face. Same goes for Bellatrix Lestrange, who is holding this large purple lantern. I'm not sure what this is. If you know what it is, let me know in the comments down below. And has a very intricate hairpiece. I have not had a set with Bellatrix in it very recently, but it's a very intricate hairpiece. And also some very nice printing there on the back of her robes with flames in silver there. And then also a wet face for where the disguise is removed. And some very nice detailing here on the front as well. And both these come with Hermione's hair as well. So you could have them with their disguise removed and their appropriate hair. And the same is also true for Ron. Up next, we have Griphook the Goblin, here with the Sword of Gryffindor and his goblin features, the shorter legs, of course, and some nice banker's clothing. An alternative face print for him as well. It's not nice, but that nice typical goblin hairpiece there. So here we have Bogrod, dressed in a suit, and not entirely connected there, dressed in a suit with some glasses for the being a banker, and then some soot and ash for when the dragon escapes from the bank. Next, we have another banker. This one in a tuxedo. This is Rickbert, the goblin. Just nicely dressed in a tuxedo with an alternative snarling face there, or a more impassive face. It is a nice torso, though, for a tuxedo print. And then we have two generic goblins, one with orange hair, dressed as bankers. This one has some nice arm printing here, with the two-tone arms, and holding a key, as well as some nice gold chain detailing there on the torso, and an alternative face print as well. And I should point out that the pinstripes for the shirt for Grip Hook also has some printing there on the arms. The other goblin is pretty much identical to the other, except for a difference in the hairpiece, and is holding a cart signaling device for in the underground section with the vaults. And he also has an alternative face print. And then for our last three figures, we have two guards with no alternative face prints, but an RR uniform here, or police uniform. You could use them either way. And the second guard, which is basically identical, just a different head. And then we have our last minifigure, which is a Death Eater, which comes with a hood piece. We can see here, which we'll take off. Some dark robes with some gray undertone, and an alternative face print if you already have this one or you prefer one over the other. And those are our minifigures. Overall, this is a very nice set. It's very large, both in terms of piece count and in terms of dimensions. It's either very tall if you stack them on top of each other, although the base width is still about one base plate wide, or it's two base plates wide if you have them set side by side. There's lots of nice detail in this set. It's a very nice bank, although when I was building it, I realized that the offset of the bank here was really not what I wanted. The fact it's kind of lopsided, well accurate to Gringotts from the movies is not really what I want for a display piece. I forgot to mention there's also a side entrance here, but it does not open. It is just a sticker piece on a piece of. You have some very nice minifigures with this. It's I think a very nice representation, not just of the 8th film, but also adding in those first year elements, which really make it a nice set. As a collector set, I think it's quite good. If you enjoy Harry Potter and Lego, you will certainly enjoy building this set. Although it is hard to recommend with not only its price point, but also just the sheer size of it. It will take a rather large area to display it because of its size. I do like the little additions of the other parts of the alley, but when I was building this set did make me hope that in their modular buildings collection, they will add a bank, because, something pretty large like this, but more of a bank like one of the Federal Reserve buildings in the US would be, I think, pretty cool, as they have some very nice architecture. Overall, it's a good set. There are some parts where it's kind of tedious, of course, lots of small pieces and sections, but overall, the building experience is quite fun. A good number of stickers, unfortunately, which given the price point is a little difficult to justify, but some very nice printed pieces on some things as well. So this set comes in at $430, which price to piece ratio is pretty decent and much better than Star Wars, that's for sure. It does come with the 13 minifigures we mentioned previously and just looked at. But for the price, it is a difficult justification, at least for me, to get those big sets. So there have to be something you really want, I think. I don't really see this as a playset. It is part of the collector series, so I don't think LEGO really sees it as a playset either. I think it really could have benefited from having some of the floors be modular and having more detail on some of those floors. But I could also see that might balloon the piece count even higher, so that would be a difficult thing to add on. Yeah, so those are my thoughts. I can't really recommend the set, but if you really love Harry Potter and you really want it, then by all means go for it. But if you're just looking at it thinking, oh, let me pick up a big set, I can't really recommend it. I don't like how it looks with like tilted floors. That just kind of bothers me. And I do think it is a nice set overall, but I think the way it's laid out, it probably would have done better as two different sets closer to the 200 price mark. We have Gringotts as the top floor, and then the underground section as a separate one. But I suspect that the underground section wouldn't do quite as well as this might have. But I think if they had just done this upper section closer to 200 point, it'd be a lot easier to recommend. And over $400 American, it's a difficult recommendation. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next week with another video.